The large window on the U.S. Vanguard gave Commander Ethan Miller a clear view of space. He watched as the alien ship moved slowly toward Earth. The ship belonged to the Araxians, beings from another world who had arrived 3 years ago. When the Araxians first came to Earth, they told stories about running away from evil creatures called the Voidborn Collective. They said they needed a safe place to live. Humans felt sorry for them and welcomed them to Earth. They shared food, water, and living space with the aliens. People from both worlds started to learn about each other's ways of life. Today was important. Leaders from Earth and the Araxian people were going to sign a peace agreement. This paper would make them official friends who would help each other if the Voidborn ever attacked. Miller turned away from the window when he heard footsteps. Admiral Catherine Wright walked into the room. Her face looked serious. "Commander Miller," she said with a nod. "Follow me, please." Miller walked behind her through the ship's long hallways until they reached her private room. Once inside, Wright closed the door and pressed a button that would stop anyone from listening to their talk. "What I'm about to tell you stays between us," Wright said. She pushed a small computer pad across the table to Miller. Miller picked it up and started reading. His eyes grew wide. The pad showed secret messages that humans had caught from Araxian ships. The messages were not meant for human eyes. "This can't be right," Miller said, but he knew it was. The messages showed the truth. The Araxians were not running from enemies. They were scouts, the first wave of an invasion force. They had made up the story about the Voidborn to trick humans into feeling sorry for them. What they really wanted was Earth's land, water, and metals. "We've thought this might be true for months," Wright said. She sat down and folded her hands on the table. "But we need real proof before we can do anything about it. If we attack them first without showing the world why, we'll look like the bad guys." Miller put the pad down. "So we're going to sign this peace agreement even though we know it's all a lie?" Wright nodded. "We sign. And while the world thinks we're making friends, we get ready for what's really coming." "How many people know about this?" Miller asked. "Only those who need to know. The president, some military leaders, a few scientists who are studying Araxian technology. Everyone else thinks this is a happy day for both our worlds." Miller walked back to the window. In the distance, he could see Earth, blue and green and beautiful. He thought about all the people down there celebrating what they thought was the beginning of a wonderful friendship between worlds. "What's our next move?" he asked. "We keep playing along," Wright said. "We smile and shake hands. We act like we believe every word they say. But behind the scenes, we build our defenses. We study their weaknesses. We prepare for the day when they drop the act and show their true plans. And the peace signing today goes forward as planned. In 1 hour, you'll escort President Donovan to the meeting room. You'll stand behind her looking happy and proud as she signs a worthless piece of paper, and then we'll throw them the biggest party they've ever seen." Wright stood up and straightened her uniform. "The Araxians think they're the clever ones, Miller. They think they're fooling us. But humanity isn't as simple as they believe. When the time comes, they'll learn that we knew the truth all along, and we'll be ready." Miller nodded. The weight of the secret felt heavy on his shoulders. But he stood tall, ready to play his part in the great deception. The peace accord was a lie, but it was a lie that bought humanity time. And time was what they needed most. Bright lights flashed as President Alicia Donovan and High Ambassador Torleth signed the peace accord. The Araxians' 6 fingers wrapped around the pen, making it look tiny. When they shook hands, the alien's large hand covered the humans completely. People all over the world watched on their screens. They cheered and celebrated what they thought was the start of a great friendship between Earth and the stars. News people talked about how this day would go down in history books. Far below the streets of Washington, D.C., Lieutenant Maya Clark sat in a dark room filled with screens. She did not cheer or smile. Her job was to watch every move the Araxians made on Earth. Her team worked day and night, tracking alien ships and listening to their talks. "Look at this," said one of her team members, pointing to a map. "They've opened another cultural center in Madrid. That makes 23 around the world now." Maya nodded. These centers were supposed to be places where humans could learn about Araxian art and science, but her team had found that the centers all had machines that could scan deep into Earth's ground. The machines looked for metals and other things the Araxians might want to take. The door opened, and Dr. William Hayes walked in. He looked tired. For 6 months, he had been working with the Araxian science team as a human helper, but really, he was Maya's spy. "How was your day with our alien friends?" Maya asked. William took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "They asked about our nuclear weapons again. 3rd time this month." "What did they say this time?" "They wanted to know how many we have and where we keep them. They made it sound like they were just curious about how we protect ourselves." William sat down heavily. "I told them what we agreed on, that most countries got rid of their nuclear weapons years ago as a sign of trust." Maya walked to a large board on the wall. It was covered with pictures, maps, and notes about strange things the Araxians had done. She added a new note. "Ask about nukes again. May 15. They're trying to figure out if we can hurt them," she said. "They want to know what kind of fight we would put up if they attacked. And what happens when they decide we're too weak to be a problem." William asked. Maya turned to face him. "Then we make sure they think again. The secret bases are almost ready. The new weapons, too." William looked at the screen showing Araxian ships moving around Earth. "Do you think we'll win if it comes to a fight?" "I don't know," Maya said honestly. "But I know we won't be the easy target they think we are." She walked to another screen that showed the peace celebration still going on. President Donovan was giving a speech about working together with the Araxians. The alien leaders stood nearby, their scaled faces hard to read. "The public can't know yet," Maya said. "It would cause panic. For now, we let them believe in the peace accord. While we get ready for war," William finished. Maya's phone beeped. It was a message from Admiral Wright. "Project Bulwark entering Phase 2. Send your latest findings." "I need to go," Maya told William. "Get some rest. Tomorrow, go back to the Araxians and keep being their friend. Find out anything you can about their home fleet." William nodded and put his glasses back on. "Sometimes I think about what it would be like if they were telling the truth, if they really did want peace." Maya looked at the celebration one more time. "That would be nice," she said softly. "But we can't bet the future of our world on nice ideas. We have to deal with what's real." As William left, Maya began typing her report. Outside, fireworks lit up the night sky in colors of blue and green. People drank and danced, celebrating a peace that did not exist. Below ground, Maya and others like her worked in the shadows, preparing for the truth that was coming. 6 months after the peace accord signing, General Frank Nelson walked through a massive underground base. The sounds of drilling and building echoed off the walls. Men and women in uniform rushed around, carrying tools and weapons. This secret place, called Project Bulwark, was hidden deep under the Mojave Desert. Few people knew it existed. On the surface, there was only sand and rocks. Below, humans were getting ready for a fight they knew would come. Colonel Olivia Martinez walked beside the general. She held a tablet that showed plans for the base. "The east section is finished," she said. "We've moved in the new radar systems that can see Araxian ships even when they try to hide." General Nelson nodded. "What about the special weapons?" "Coming along well," Olivia said. Dr. Parker's team in Sydney found a weakness in Araxian body armor. The new guns can break through it. They stopped at a large metal door. Nelson pressed his hand against a screen, and the door opened with a hiss. Inside was a huge room, as big as 10 football fields. Workers were building hundreds of fighter jets. These weren't normal planes. They were made to fight in space, against Araxian ships. "The public thinks we're cutting back on weapons because of the peace accord," Olivia said. "They believe we're spending less money on the military now." And really, we're spending more than ever, Nelson said. Everything has been moved here, where the Araxians can't see it. A young officer ran up to them and saluted. Sir, we just got word from the Sydney lab. Dr. Parker wants to speak with you right away. Nelson and Olivia hurried to a small room with a large screen on the wall. When they turned it on, they saw the face of Daniel Parker, a scientist with tired eyes and messy hair. General Colonel Daniel said, I have good news. We've been studying the Araxian bodies, using samples we got secretly. We found something important. Go on, Nelson said. Their nerve system is very different from ours. We made a gas that can make them pass out but won't hurt humans at all. Nelson leaned forward. You're sure it works? We tested it on the tissue samples. It blocks the signals in their brains, but our brains are wired differently. The gas would just smell bad to us, nothing more. How soon can you make enough to use? Olivia asked. Daniel looked down at his notes. With the secret factories we've set up, maybe 2 months. We'll need to make special bombs to spread it in the air. Do it, Nelson ordered. This could save many lives if we can stop them without a big fight. After the call ended, Nelson and Olivia walked back through the base. They watched as soldiers trained with new weapons and scientists tested strange machines. The president called this morning, Nelson said quietly. The Araxians are asking for access to more places, power plants, water cleaning stations. They say they want to learn how we do things. They want to know what to target first, Olivia said. Nelson stopped walking and turned to her. How much longer do you think we have? Olivia thought for a moment. Based on their actions so far, maybe a year, maybe less. Then we need to work faster. Nelson looked up at the rock ceiling, thinking about all the people living their normal lives above them. Every day, I go home to my family and can't tell them what I know. My kids ask me about the Araxian child who joined their school. They think it's all wonderful. We carry this weight so they don't have to, Olivia said. And when the day comes, we'll be ready. Nelson nodded and straightened his shoulders. Let's see the new fighter jets. I want to know if they can outfly those alien ships. Together they walked deeper into humanity's secret defense, preparing for a war that most people didn't know was coming. 1 year after the peace accord, Captain Jason Bennett flew his jet high over Alaska. The cold winter sun made the snow below shine bright. His radio crackled with an urgent message from base. Captain, we have an Araxian shuttle entering restricted airspace. It's heading toward Bunker 7. Intercept and guide them away. Do not show force unless needed. Understood, Jason replied. He turned his jet toward the coordinates on his screen. Bunker 7 looked like a simple research station from above, but deep underground was one of humanity's new weapon systems. If the Araxians found out what was really there, the game would be over. Soon Jason spotted the Araxian shuttle. It was moving slowly, too slowly for a ship that was just passing by. It was searching for something. Jason flew beside the alien craft and opened a communication line. Araxian shuttle, this is Captain Bennett of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted airspace. Please change course. The face of an Araxian appeared on his screen. Their purple skin and 4 eyes still looked strange to Jason, even after a year of seeing them on Earth. Captain Bennett, we apologize, the Araxian said. Our navigation system had an error. We will leave your area. Jason watched carefully as the shuttle turned, but his sensor screen showed something troubling. They're scanning the ground, he told his base. Full deep scan of the bunker area. Stay with them until they're out of range, his commander ordered. Jason followed the shuttle until it was well away from the secret base. Then he flew back to his own base, an underground hangar hidden in the mountains. When he landed, intelligence officer Rebecca Collins was waiting for him. That was no accident, she said as they walked from his jet. We checked their flight plans. They meant to fly right over Bunker 7. Jason took off his helmet. Did they find anything? Did their scans see through our shields? Rebecca shook her head. We don't think so. The new blocking technology seems to have worked. But they're getting braver with their spying. Yesterday they asked to visit our uranium processing plants for what they called educational purposes. They want to see our nuclear materials, Jason said. Exactly. They're checking every possible weapon we have. They entered a secure room where other officers were watching screens showing Araxian movements around the world. One screen showed a map with red dots where Araxian ships had tried to enter restricted areas in the past month. There were dozens of dots. It's happening more often, Rebecca said. They're testing our responses, seeing how fast we react, how we protect different places. Jason pointed to a cluster of red dots near the Pacific Ocean. What's going on there? They've become very interested in our underwater research stations. Those could be hiding more than just science. Rebecca looked worried. We think they're speeding up their timeline. Meanwhile, in Geneva, Switzerland, diplomat Sophia Nielsen sat across from 3 Araxians at a large table. She smiled and spoke in a friendly voice, but her eyes were sharp and watching. Of course, we understand your concerns about the military exercises in the Pacific, she told them. But I can assure you, these are routine training operations. We hold them every year. The lead Araxian, a female named Vexra, tilted her head. It seems there are more ships than last year. And your new satellite system covers that exact area. Just improvements to our weather tracking. Sophia lied smoothly. She knew the satellites were actually part of a new defense grid. After the meeting, Sophia went to her private office and locked the door. She took out a special phone and sent a coded message. They mentioned fleet movements near their home world, claimed they were moving ships away. Previous intel shows opposite. They're building up forces, not reducing them. The reply came quickly. Message received. Continue as planned. Sophia put the phone away and prepared for her next meeting. The lies went both ways in this strange time before war. Every day, the truth came closer to being revealed. 18 months after the peace accord signing, Lieutenant Andrew Gordon drove through the rain to a small cabin in the Ontario woods. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. In the back seat sat a figure covered with a blanket. We're almost there, Andrew said. 5 more minutes. The figure moved slightly. Are you sure we weren't followed? Yes, we took every safety step. Andrew had been shocked when he got the call 2 days ago. An Araxian wanted to talk to human military leaders. Not just any Araxian, but one who worked in their military planning group. One who knew their real plans for Earth. The cabin appeared through the trees. It looked like a normal vacation home, but it was really a secure meeting place. Cameras and sensors watched everything around it. Armed guards stayed hidden in the trees. Andrew parked and helped his passenger into the cabin. Inside, 5 people waited around a wooden table. They were top military and government officials who knew the truth about the Araxians. The Araxian removed the blanket. He was smaller than most of his kind, with lighter purple skin. He looked nervous, his 4 eyes blinking fast. This is Nex, Andrew told the group. He wants to defect, to leave his people and join ours. General Nelson leaned forward. Why should we trust you? Nex placed a small device on the table. Because I bring proof of what you already suspect. My people are not refugees. We are invaders. He touched the device, and a 3D map appeared above the table. It showed Earth at the center, with hundreds of red dots moving toward it from deep space. The invasion fleet is already on its way, Nex said. I was part of the advanced planning team. The peace accord was a trick to give us time to learn your weaknesses and place our people in key positions. The room was silent for a moment. Then Admiral Wright asked, Why are you telling us this? Why betray your own kind? Nex looked down. I was born after the decision to invade. I was raised to believe it was our right to take worlds from lesser species. But after living among humans, I see you are not lesser. You are different, but not less. What my leaders plan is wrong. How much time do we have? Nelson asked. The main fleet will arrive in 2 months, but advanced ships are already entering your solar system. As the questions continued, NASA engineer Laura Bennett sat in her control room at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in California. She stared at her screen, checking the data again and again. "This can't be right," she said to herself. She called her supervisor, who came running. "What is it?" he asked. Laura pointed to the screen. "We've detected multiple objects entering the solar system from the direction of Araxian space. They're big, moving fast, and trying to stay hidden." Her supervisor looked pale. "How many?" "At least 50 that we can see. Maybe more that we can't." He picked up a red phone. "This is Delta Station. Connect me with Admiral Wright immediately. Authorization code Sierra 94. Meanwhile, in the cabin, Andrew watched as Nex drew diagrams of Araxian ships showing their weak points. The defector explained their weapons, their shields, and their battle plans. "They will attack your major cities first," Nex said. "Their goal is to cause panic and force a quick surrender." The red foam on the wall rang, and Nelson answered it. As he listened, his face grew darker. When he hung up, everyone looked at him. "The fleet has been spotted," he said. "They're moving faster than expected. We may have weeks, not months." Admiral Wright stood up. "Then we move to Phase 3 now. All military forces go on hidden alert. All secret weapons systems activate. We prepare for full reveal and counterattack." She looked at Nex. "We'll need everything you know about their command structure." Nex nodded. "I'll tell you everything. But you should know, my people are very confident. They believe humans are peaceful and weak. They do not expect any real fight." Andrew saw Nelson and Wright share a small smile. "Then they're in for a very big surprise," Nelson said, "because we've been preparing for this fight since the day they arrived." As the 2-year mark of the peace accord approached, the Araxians suggested a special celebration. They invited world leaders to their large space station orbiting Earth. They called it a symbol of lasting friendship between their species. President Alicia Donovan stood in the Oval Office, looking at the invitation on her desk. General Nelson and Admiral Wright waited for her decision. "It's a perfect opportunity," Wright said. "All their leaders in one place. Our plan can begin there." Donovan nodded. "I'll accept the invitation publicly tomorrow. How is Kevin Russell doing with his part?" Nelson brought up a secure tablet showing the human man working alongside Araxians on their space station. "Russell has been their communications expert for 10 months now. They trust him completely. He's ready when we are." "And our hidden fleet?" Donovan asked. "All ships are in position," Wright answered. "The moment you give the signal, they will rise from their hiding places around the world." Donovan walked to the window and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, the Araxian station hung over Earth like a watchful eye. 2 years of lying," she said quietly. 2 years of smiling at them while knowing what they really planned. I'm ready for it to end." The next day, President Donovan announced to the world that she would personally attend the anniversary celebration on the Araxian station. People cheered at the news, still believing in the peace between worlds. On the space station, Kevin Russell worked calmly at his post in the main communications center. He was surrounded by Araxians, who thought he was their loyal helper. None of them knew he was really a highly trained special agent. For months, Kevin had been secretly placing small devices around the station. These devices could take control of the station's systems when activated. He had also been gathering all the evidence of the Araxian invasion plans from their own computers. An Araxian supervisor approached him. "The celebration preparations are going well. High Ambassador Torleth is pleased with your work." Kevin smiled. "I'm honored to help. This friendship between our worlds means everything to me." The lie came easily after months of practice. Kevin continued working, checking his watch. In just 3 days, everything would change. Meanwhile, on Earth, Maya Clark walked through an underground room filled with large screens. Each screen showed an Araxian cultural center in a different city. Her team had been watching these centers for 2 years. All teams report ready, her assistant said. Special forces are in position near every Araxian facility worldwide. Maya nodded. And the shield systems for the cities. Ready to activate. The moment the president gives the signal, energy shields will deploy over every major population center. Maya looked at another screen showing the Araxian space station. What about our people up there? Russell and the diplomatic team. They know the risks. Once the president makes her announcement, the Araxians might react violently. Russell will try to take control of their systems to protect our people, but it will be dangerous. On the day of the celebration, President Donovan boarded a special shuttle to the space station. She wore a formal blue suit with the Earth flight pin on her lapel. The pin contained a hidden button that would start everything when pressed. As her shuttle docked with the station, Admiral Wright stood in the command center of the U.S. Vanguard. The ship had pretended to be a simple diplomatic vessel for 2 years. Now it revealed its true nature as a powerful warship, hidden in plain sight. All vessels report ready. An officer told Wright. Defense grid is fully operational. City shields are on standby. Wright nodded. Now we wait for the president's signal. Aboard the space station, Araxian leaders greeted President Donovan with what looked like warm smiles. Musicians played. Drinks were served in fancy glasses. High Ambassador Torleth raised his glass. To eternal friendship between our worlds, he said. President Donovan smiled and touched her Earth flight pin. To truth, she replied. And to what comes next. The peace accord was a lie. President Donovan said calmly, and humanity has known it all along. The room went silent. The Araxian leaders stared at her, their 4 eyes blinking in surprise. High Ambassador Torleth's smile disappeared. What do you mean? He asked, trying to sound confused. Donovan pressed her flight pin firmly. A small light on it turned from green to red. Now, Kevin, she said into her hidden microphone. In the communications center, Kevin Russell sprang into action. He typed commands quickly into his computer. Across the station, the small devices he had hidden came to life. They took control of the station's systems one by one. What is happening? An Araxian officer shouted as their screens changed. Kevin didn't answer. He activated the final program and hit enter. Suddenly, every screen on the station and on Earth showed the same thing. Proof of the Araxian invasion plans. There were maps of Earth marked with targets. There were messages between Araxian leaders planning how to take over human cities. There were orders for their fleet to attack. In the celebration room, Donovan faced the angry Araxian leaders. We intercepted your communications. We found your hidden weapons. We know everything. Torleth's face changed from surprise to rage. He reached for a hidden weapon, but human security guards already had their guns pointed at him. Your invasion fleet is coming, Donovan continued. But we've been preparing for this moment for 2 years. At that same moment, all across Earth, the truth was revealed. People watched their screens in shock as they learned the Araxians had planned to conquer them all along. Torleth looked at his fellow leaders, then back at Donovan. It does not matter if you know, he said coldly. Our fleet is too powerful. You cannot stop us. He pressed a button on his wrist device. Alarms sounded throughout the station. In Earth orbit, Araxian ships that had been peaceful suddenly powered up their weapons. They began firing on satellites and human space stations. Just as Nex had warned, they were starting their attack. But humanity was ready. From hidden bases around the world, human ships rose into the sky. They had been built in secret, underground and underwater, where Araxian scanners couldn't find them. Commander Ethan Miller sat in the captain's chair of the U.S. Vanguard, now revealed as a powerful warship. All weapons online, he ordered. Protect the civilian stations. The Vanguard moved quickly, placing itself between Araxian attackers and a human research station. Its new weapons fired, cutting through Araxian shields like they weren't even there. On Earth, Colonel Olivia Martinez stood in the control center of Project Bulwark. "Activate city shields," she ordered. Across the planet, invisible energy fields rose over major cities. When Araxian ships fired at New York, London, and Tokyo, their weapons couldn't break through. Lieutenant Maya Clark led teams to surround every Araxian cultural center. "These aren't cultural centers," she told the public through emergency broadcasts. "They're forward bases for invasion. We've known for 2 years." Her teams used the special gas Dr. Parker had created. It flowed into the buildings, making the Araxians inside fall asleep without hurting any humans. In space, Admiral Wright opened a communication channel to the main Araxian fleet that was just entering the solar system. Her face appeared on their screens. "Attention Araxian forces," she said. "We've been expecting you for 2 years. Every move you made, we watched. Every weakness you thought you found was what we wanted you to see." The Araxian fleet commander looked shocked. "Impossible. Our plan was perfect." "Your plan was discovered the moment you arrived," Wright replied. "Turn back now, or face the consequences." The commander laughed. "You are just one small world. We are many." "Then watch carefully," Wright said. She gave a signal, and thousands of hidden weapons platforms throughout the solar system revealed themselves. They had been placed there in secret, waiting for this moment. The battle for Earth had begun. But unlike what the Araxians expected, humanity was not surprised or helpless. They faced an enemy who had been preparing for this fight since the beginning. The peace accord was a lie. Humanity knew it all along. The battle lasted 3 days. Space around Earth lit up with weapons fire. The Araxian fleet, which had expected an easy victory, found themselves caught in a carefully planned trap. Hidden mines placed throughout the outer solar system damaged many of their ships before they even reached Earth. Automated defense platforms attacked from directions they didn't expect. Human ships, built in secret and armed with weapons designed to target Araxian weaknesses, moved in coordinated groups that surprised the invaders. On the Araxian command ship, the fleet leader couldn't believe what was happening. How did they know? He kept asking. How were they so prepared? In the final hours, when it became clear they could not win, the remaining Araxian ships tried to retreat, but the route back was blocked by more human defenses. Cut off from help and running out of fuel and weapons, the Araxian fleet commander finally called Admiral Wright. "We surrender," he said, his voice heavy with defeat. "We request mercy." 2 weeks later, President Donovan stood at a podium in front of the United Nations building in New York. The world had changed forever. People now knew that aliens had tried to trick and conquer them. They also knew that their leaders had protected them through secret planning and preparation. "Today marks humanity's first true step into the wider galaxy," Donovan said to the crowd and the cameras. "Not as victims or conquests, but as equals who will not be deceived. We faced our first test as a united planet, and we passed." People cheered. Many held signs thanking the military leaders and scientists who had worked in secret for 2 years to save Earth. After the speech, Dr. William Hayes met with Nex and other Araxians who had chosen to help humans. They sat in a large room with windows looking out over the city. "Many of us didn't know what our leaders planned," a female Araxian said. "We were told humans welcomed us as friends. We didn't know it was all a trick to prepare for invasion." Nex nodded. "Our leaders lied to us just as they lied to humans. They told us this was our right, to take worlds from others." William looked at the group of aliens who had chosen a different path. "We have a chance now to build something real. Not based on lies, but on understanding. It won't be easy, but it's possible." On the U.S. Vanguard, now orbiting Earth as part of the new defense fleet, Commander Ethan Miller and Lieutenant Maya Clark stood at the observation window. Earth looked peaceful from space, its blue oceans and white clouds hiding the changes happening on the surface. "Do you think there will ever be real peace between our species?" Maya asked. Miller thought about this for a moment. "Perhaps. But next time, it won't be built on lies." As they spoke, an officer rushed into the room. "Commander, Lieutenant, you need to see this." They followed him to the bridge where Admiral Wright was looking at a large screen. It showed strange signals coming from deep space, far beyond the solar system. "What is it?" Miller asked. "We're not sure," Wright said, "but it's neither human nor Araxian. It started right after the battle ended." Maya studied the patterns. It's almost like they were watching, waiting to see what would happen. The room went quiet as they realized what this might mean. The real Voidborn collective, the enemy the Araxians had made up as their cover story, might actually exist. Or it could be something else entirely, something unknown. "So what do we do now?" Miller asked. Admiral Wright straightened her uniform. "We keep building our defenses. We learn everything we can from the Araxians who have joined us, and we prepare for whatever comes next." She looked around at her crew, then back at Earth glowing blue below them. "But this time, we face it together, as one planet. No more secrets, no more lies between us." As the Vanguard continued its patrol, the people of Earth looked to the stars with new eyes. They had faced their first great test as a united world. Whatever came next, peace or another challenge, they would meet it prepared and together. The peace accord had been a lie, but from that lie had come a stronger humanity, ready to take its place among the stars.